So I'm sure you've all heard by now about the submarine that went to visit the Titanic wreckage. And all the people that went to go visit it have gotten trapped, and unfortunately now the news has come out that they've actually passed away. Apparently the whole submarine just combusted and everyone instantly died. Oh, is this hat yeah, I probably shouldn't be wearing that right now, huh? And I just want to start this video off by saying I don't think it's okay that anybody died. I know a lot of people are saying that, oh, these are billionaires, you know, they're super rich. They spent $250,000 to go and do this trip. Fuck them. Who cares? I'm glad they died. Da-da-da-da. I've seen people say that. This is not me making it up. And that is honestly not acceptable in my opinion. I don't care that they're rich or whatever. They don't deserve to lose their lives. I don't know who these people are personally, but I don't think it's acceptable to wish them death and be happy that they're dead and dance on their graves and all that stuff. I don't think that's acceptable. In fact, there was a total of 5 lives that were lost during this incident. One of those being a 19-year-old and his father. And some of the jokes that people have made, I'm not gonna lie, are kind of funny. And I know you probably think it's funny because they're getting thousands of likes and they're all over my feed. The reality of the situation is that it's really sad that these people lost their lives and no one deserves that, and the way that they had to die and stuff is just traumatic and horrible. And I know people will use the excuse, oh well, you shouldn't be going visiting these things that are super dangerous, you know, it's kind of on you, and that's fair to say. You know, it's probably not the smartest thing to do stuff like this. Point being proven right here that you probably shouldn't be doing stuff like this, but it's still really sad to see that people lost their lives due to this, and I wish their families the best. Not my preferred way to die, I'm gonna be quite honest. Probably at the bottom of the list, just like how it's at the bottom of the ocean. Okay, sorry, I couldn't help myself. That's fucked up. But the main reason I wanted to talk about this whole situation is not to talk about the reality of the situation. I mean, everything's been pretty much figured out at this point. They were using a freaking Logitech controller to control the submarine, which I had no idea that they ever did. So this is the controller that they were using to control the submarine, and I just have to say that is absolutely crazy. Like, at least use a GameCube controller, or like maybe Donkey Kong bongos. That would be cool. But a Logitech controller, that's crazy. I mean, I would rather use like an Xbox controller or a GameCube controller. I mean, those are like still being used today. This is an actual photo from the situation, and they have little joystick like extenders, which are like really weird. I don't know if they're trying to do some crazy trick shots in Call of Duty or what they're trying to do with that. But the main reason I want to talk about this situation is that one of the billionaires out of this situation, their stepson, was on Twitter and made a lot of noise the other day. And this guy is a character. To be quite honest, I don't think this guy's all there, and nor do I think this guy is completely awful, but there are some really concerning things about this person. So maybe they are completely awful. I don't know. There's some weird things. So originally this all stemmed from Twitter, but unfortunately his Twitter's gone. But after some research, I found he has an Instagram, so I found more stuff about him because of that. This billionaire stepson was named Audio Guy 182 because he's a big fan of Blink 182. But his real name was actually Brian Sazes. I don't know how to say his last name. So while his stepfather was trapped in a submarine without him knowing whether he was alive or dead, he was responding to OnlyFans creators saying yes please to them sitting on his face, which is pretty hilarious. I just know from my experience with people's lives being in jeopardy or them actually dying, I probably wouldn't be on horny mode. I don't think that's where my mind would be, especially publicly when everyone's looking at this family and all these families, because, you know, this is like one of the biggest stories in the last month or so. Everyone's eyes have been on this submarine incident. But, you know, there's nothing wrong with supporting OnlyFans creators and, you know, being horny. It happens. It's just kind of funny, so we'll let that slide, I guess. But one of the main things that set off people on the internet was that he went to a Blink 182 concert while his stepfather was still trapped in a submarine, and it seemed at the time that he probably wasn't going to be rescued. At first I thought his account was quite honestly a parody account, but it actually wasn't, which is interesting. It might be distasteful being here, but my family would want me to be at the Blink 182 show, as it's my favorite band and music helps me get through difficult times. So I feel like that's fair. You know, music does help people a lot, and I do understand the concept of trying to get your mind off of something that's really tragic going on in your life. I just know for myself, I probably wouldn't want to be in public or at a concert during this time. I would probably just want to be at home with my family, you know, making sure they're all right, or just, you know, dealing with my own feelings during that time. But I am not Brian, and he should be able to cope however he wants. But there's some stuff that makes the situation a little bit weirder. Blink 182 gets us through life's toughest times. So this is when things started getting kind of weird with this Brian guy. At Tom DeLong, my stepdad is missing in the sub at the Titanic site. I'm here at the San Diego show for support, thanks. So nothing too wrong there. He's just saying that he's at their show to feel better, which is understandable. And then he tweeted at them again, at Blink-182, at Tom, at Travis, at Mark Hoppus. My stepdad, Hamish, is on the submarine, lost at sea. I'm devastated, but coming to the San Diego show tonight so you guys can give me hope and cheer me up. The way it comes across is that he's trying to leverage his way into seeing the band and meeting them in person. Hey, Blink-182, yeah, my stepdad, who's like a billionaire, stuck in some stupid submarine, but I'm at your show tonight, so I miss you, and I figured maybe we could like kick it or something. Maybe you could sign my shirt. In fact, I wasn't the only person feeling this way. This is a user saying trying to leverage it into meeting Blink-182 is probably one of the funnier things you could do after your stepdad is lost at sea. But sometimes when there's a tragedy, something good can come from it, and right here we got a photo of him with Tom DeLong from Blink-182. You know, that's wholesome. I mean, I don't see a complete problem with that, besides the fact that he's kind of like using his dad being in a bad position to leverage his way into meeting a band. Later on, he also got a DM from Travis Barker, the drummer of Blink-182, saying, praying for your family. And he said, thank you. I will see you at the San Diego show tonight. Nothing wrong with that. That's fair and sweet. I just think it's interesting to go to a concert still, but as I said, people cope differently and like want to keep their mind off of things, so I can understand where he's coming from at this point. Finding out the Blink-182 submarine stepson was jailed for making death threats to various female rave DJs. So you're probably thinking, what the heck? Like, he was put in jail for making threats to DJs and primarily female DJs? Yeah, this guy's got problems, and that's not bullshit. At first when I read that tweet, I was like, okay, people can just say stuff and make up things, but there's a lot more information on this story that we're about to find out. So this is probably one of the biggest parts of this story, is Cardi B being involved. If you don't know Cardi B, she is an artist, and for some reason she used a filter with the Titan from Attack on Titan, like hugging her. I don't know why that was the choice. So this is Cardi B talking about the stepson being at a Blink-182 show while his stepfather is stuck in a submarine, possibly going to die.
Okay, so one of the billionaires that's missing on the water from that submarine shit, one of the billionaires, their stepson, is at a concert, right? At a Blink-182 concert. And people is like, well, what is he supposed to do? Be sad at the house? Is he supposed to go look for himself? Yes. You're supposed to be at the house sad. You're supposed to be crying for me. You're supposed to be right next to the phone waiting to hear any updates about me.
I agree that personally that's how I would handle it. Even if it's not someone that I personally care about to that level, I would still want to be with my mom or whoever actually does care about that person and still, you know, be comforting my family. That's just how I would handle it. And like Cardi said, I do agree that you should probably be sad. I mean, no matter what, this is a person's life in danger. It's pretty scary. And I'm not saying the guy's not sad at all, but this incident only happened for about 4 days, and he took one of those days just to go to a concert and stuff and try to, like, I wouldn't feel even comfortable going to a concert during that. I wouldn't be able to get my mind off of it. But there's nothing completely wrong with what he's doing, in my opinion, though. I think it's weird personally, but I don't think it's necessarily wrong.
Constantly your mom and shit. Like, isn't it sad that you a whole fucking billionaire and nobody gives a fuck about you? Like, like you missing and motherfuckers ready to shake dicks at concert. That's crazy. I'd rather be broke. I'd rather be broke than like and poor, but knowing that I'm loved.
So what I have to say about that is I wouldn't necessarily say that no one cares. I would say that maybe this guy is handling it differently. It doesn't mean that he doesn't care either. We don't actually know how he truly feels. As for shaking dicks at a concert, I don't know what type of concert she goes to, but I don't usually see dicks being shaken. I can see where Cardi's coming from. I totally understand that perspective. I don't know if I fully agree with it. I agree with parts of it, and I also try to see his perspective as well of trying to get his mind off of it and trying to, you know, live a little bit while this horrible thing is happening so he can like get a break from the stress that it's probably brought him. It's a really weird situation, and to be quite honest, none of us are actually in that situation, so why should we necessarily be fully able to judge how he copes with it? But the situation does get really bad after this, and he does not handle this at all well. Now, I don't think I have all the screenshots because, like I said, his Twitter was deleted, but one of his responses to her was, "She is as trashy as your mama," and then the N-word. And you would think that he's hacked because obviously this guy is white, but no, this is legitimately him. And then he tries to defend his usage of the N-word by saying, "Quit tripping. In my hood, I can say the N-word without the ER. Of course, I'm down like that. on the set. I don't think you should be saying that, to be quite honest. I don't think so. At Cardi B, what a POS trashy celebrity. Cardi B trying to get clout off of me and my family suffering. I went to the Blink-182 concert for coping rather than sitting at home and watching the news. Shame on you, Cardi, get some class. Which in my opinion, that's a pretty fair response. I think the part where he really messed up was calling her names and then also dropping the N-word and then trying to justify using the N-word. I think that obviously made everyone go, okay, this guy's kind of a dumbass. And then he's using the victim card here, saying the media is incredibly insensitive during these tragic times, which is funny because a lot of the tweets down below this were like him thirsting over OnlyFans girls or being like, hey, I'm at a Blink-182 show and Tom, can you please meet me? And then it's like him saying the N-word, and then it's him saying, oh, my family, you know, I feel bad about them, and then like him thirsting over a girl again and then saying the N-word again. So it was kind of hard for people to sympathize with this dude. And I did think it was kind of funny that he did follow her on Instagram, but then was saying that she's like irrelevant and stuff and fell off, but he followed her. So on his Instagram story, he responded to Cardi B.
Thanks for the love and the support. Here are the facts, okay? Believe it or not, I have about $100 to my name. I can't go out to the ocean. I have a legal situation keeping me here as well. I can't get on a flight. I don't have a passport. I was sitting here yesterday watching the news for 2 days straight. I go to a Blink-182 show because they have a ticket. It wasn't like I was having super fun. It wasn't like I was celebrating, having a great time. I was kind of just listening to some of my all-time favorite songs, kind of like nodding my head and just trying to get off the phone for like maybe like 2 hours or so and come right back into the drama. The submarine is stuck at the damn Titanic. There's nothing I can do for the situation at all. So that's the truth.
I think everything he said right there is pretty valid and fair, to be quite honest. I don't see a complete big problem with that. I personally, like I said, wouldn't have been able to do that, but I don't really see a problem with him doing it, to be quite honest.
So you take a complete bitch like Cardi B, has no idea what's going on. Her career is so in such turmoil, she needs clout off other people's suffering.
I just want to say, though, him saying that she needs clout is completely inaccurate, to be quite honest. I checked her listeners on Spotify. She has about 30 million monthly listeners. Obviously has made quite the name for herself.
She's like, he won't go help. Blah, blah, blah. He goes to a rock concert, this and that. Tries to use the situation to exploit, like the news. They're not like feeling sorry that my mom has to take care of 2 kids. Not really giving a fuck that my stepdad's probably 99% chance he's dead. That doesn't matter. Doesn't care how we feel. Just trying to like fucking make gains. People like trolling, getting hate mail, all these things. And it's just fucked up. And to have Cardi B behind it, Cardi B, like, fucking grow up, get some class. Like, you're tasteless.
It's funny that he's calling her tasteless, but then he is saying the N-word.
So my homegirl, my online friend Brea, I always talk to her on Twitter. We have a playful back and forth. And I respond to a comment like I do every day. Basically, the media flips out on it. And she wished me well. She wished my family well. She's a very nice person. She does OnlyFans or whatever. She has her hustle. That's what she does.
I just want to say, the thing I've noticed about this guy that we're going to get into more is I think he has these connections with these people like musicians and a lot of OnlyFans creators that he feels he knows them on a different level than he actually does. I think most likely, and I can't guarantee it, but we'll get more into it, is that he pays for this girl's content and she's responded to him, or she saw that he's going through this big tragedy that's all over the news, of course, and then, you know, obviously responded because of that. From a lot of things that I will show you later on and stuff, he seems to think that he's more close to certain people than he actually is, to the point where some people are like, hey, I don't even know this guy and I don't want anything to do with him. And it just seems like maybe a pattern that maybe he simps over these girls and then he thinks that maybe he's closer to them as people than he actually is.
That much after just a little playful back and forth, something I do like fucking every day. Judge all you want, but it's like, come on, give it a break. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. So I'm just tired of the bullshit. Thanks, Bray. I love you. Stay strong. Thanks for the support, everyone. This whole situation's a fucking nightmare, though. Everything about it. Especially what Hamish is going through down there. It is just fucking god-awful. And I really appreciate the love and support. Haven't slept in days. It's not about me. Obviously, just too worried about my mom, the situation. So I'm not like rocking out or whatever they're trying to accuse me of doing, but it just fucking makes the situation that much worse to have outside forces that are using their power for like complete fucking evil. My God. Thanks again. Have a good night.
So right after that video, he posted this. And I just think this is a little bit trying to milk the situation a little bit for like attention. To be fair, he's thrown in this situation. He probably doesn't know how to handle having a bunch of eyes on him. Currently, with everything being said, I don't think this guy is currently a bad dude or anything. It's just more so what's going to happen. I think he is a little bit of an oddball. I saw online some people were saying that they do feel like something is off with this guy, like maybe he has some sort of mental disorder as well. Definitely does to some extent, because that's obviously proven once I show you guys more and more of what he's actually done in the past and stuff. I don't know what's wrong with him necessarily, but I do feel bad for him and his family and everything. And I do understand where Cardi B was coming from, so I can see both sides of it. It's a really just shitty situation in general. So for this part, I'll call it the trying to get girls while your stepfather is stuck in a submarine. This is him obviously messaging that girl that says, "Can I sit on you?" And then he says, "Yes, please." And this is right after he said, like, "Everyone please pray for my family" and stuff. And then he's responding like this. Kind of weird. Nothing completely wrong with it, but kind of funny, and is also another reason why I believe that other girl that he thought he was really close to, which he might be, he probably isn't as close to, and probably just subscribed to her OnlyFans, to be quite honest. And then later on, he tweets, "Ladies, I'm single." Kind of a strange time to say that. I think it's because he knows people are looking at his Twitter right now, and he's like, "I'm gonna use this to try to get a girlfriend or something." And this was just a funny one that has nothing really to do with anything besides the fact that of the other OnlyFans stuff that I said earlier. I got an OnlyFans gift certificate for my birthday. I think that's pretty funny, to be honest. There's nothing really to that, but I thought I would share it anyway. So as we can see, this guy is the Riz master and uses any opportunity to get some pussy. This next part is one of the most important parts, I would say, and this is when he starts getting kind of weird with these artists. And the first artist is named Cray. So this is his Instagram, and as you can see, he has a bunch of pinned stories, so I went through all of them, of course, because I kind of wanted to know more about this guy. The one we're looking at right now is him going to raves, which seems to be a big thing that he does and enjoys, which is not wrong at all, but it does lead to something that is pretty horrible that he's done. And right here we have footage of an artist named Cray who's actually dating a person that does EDM music, so I assume that's how he probably discovered Cray's music. But there is something really interesting about him and Cray, is that I think he feels like they're actually best friends and stuff, and it comes across very strange, almost reminds me of Christina Grimmie kind of like vibe, where this guy's just mentally unstable and seems to go to a lot of shows and just gives off a bad vibe. He's gone to a couple of her concerts, likes to keep a little distance on the hands. How is he holding his glasses like that? What the fuck is going on there? Anyways, this is one of his pinned stories. Nothing wrong with that. It's just a whole story pretty much dedicated to Cray, and it's one of his pinned ones. And then right here we have this post that says, "Yes, my stepdad is missing in the Titanic sub. It's love and support from friends like you that get me through." And there's nothing wrong with him saying this or using this photo, you know, to really say it. It's just a little strange, because like she met him once, he's saying that they're friends and stuff. It's kind of a random thing, but I'm glad that she helps in some way with her music. It just comes across a little strange. So I feel like I need to explain this guy's history a little bit. By this point, people were recognizing this person for doing something really bad at a rave. There was a rave in the past where Brian threatened to do a massacre. He also has a bunch of accusations of stalking female DJs and just females in general. When the massacre happens, I'm taking notes of who's viewing this tweet and who's in jeopardy. Those who disrespect me, the real joke is on your ass at Trilogy. I would assume Trilogy is a rave event. The funny thing is, bitches actually think they'll be safe after calling my ass out. There's this other artist that he's obsessed with that's in the EDM world, and her name is In Wonderland. He got this tattoo of her, which is supposed to be her image. Apparently she said something about him, and he said, "I got a tattoo of this bitch and she fucking dissed me." And he also said, "Ah, will fucking pay. I will show up at her her LA apartment. I will fucking find Alice in Wonderland and hunt her ass down. So as you can see, he seems like a pretty violent person. And this was written by somebody that knew of him on Twitter. An individual involved in the rave community, Brian I don't know how to say his last name, was exposed for stalking and harassing various women in the community, as well as terroristic threats. The individual was exposed via viral thread on Twitter, sending excessive amounts of DMs and tweeting threats and dangerous messages to women in the community, including Alice in Wonderland. Brian seemed to be tweeting at these women for attention, yet things quickly turned dark when in late June, the individual started tweeting dangerous threats at women who have rejected him, and at Alice in Wonderland for not paying attention to him or tweeting him back. Brian, after being called out for harassment by women in the rave community, tweeted a storm of threats, namely threatening a massacre at the events that are happening in Las Vegas this weekend, including executions on July 2nd and 3rd and Illumi's Trilogy show on July 3rd at Allegiant Stadium. I don't know how to say any of these words apparently. Brian tweeted, "It was funny that women who called him out think they're safe this weekend at Trilogy and that he'll see them there. These are serious threats that members of the community did not take lightly, and both executions and Illumi's teams were notified and took action." So the artist Elenium actually responded about Brian back in the day, and he was responding to someone and said, "Yes, my team and I are aware of the situation, are working with authorities in the stadium on it. My number one priority at any show is for my fans to feel safe. We take all threats seriously, and anyone making them will be reported to the police and not allowed into the venue." We have this other user saying, "Not my stalker going viral on here for having a billionaire stepdad. To be honest, before the news reports came in, I was half convinced that this dude tried to follow through on previous threats and had something to do with it. Like, I was just waiting to see this dude's name make an appearance again for some sort of drama. I just wasn't expecting it to be the submarine drama." This dude was arrested after threatening to shoot up the Alice in Wonderland concert the other year. So as you can see, a lot of people were already aware of this man's behavior and his existence before this situation even happened, because he apparently has a history of stalking and threatening to shoot up concerts because he doesn't get the attention that he wants. I truly believe this guy should get mental help and should not be going to any concerts. I feel he is an actual threat, and I do feel bad for him, but this situation has brought light to this person being absolutely horrifying. I even found more tweets about him saying that if you see him, you should call the police because he is a danger. And then we have this post of him actually being arrested for the threats that he made in the past. The viral stepson was arrested back in 2021 for threatening to shoot up a festival and stalking women. He even for some reason tweeted this: "The last clown that bullied me online, I fucked up so bad I was in prison for years. I'm not talking about it." Like, who the fuck says that? Like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? So that takes me back to this part. This is why seeing him with artists like Cray and Alice in Wonderland and stuff is very concerning, because to me personally, it really gives a flashback to stuff that's happened to like Selena and Christina Grimmie, where people become obsessed and they harm these artists. And I really hope to God that never happens to anyone. And I think artists like Cray also have that feeling, and that's why Cray tweeted this: "Hi, the man Brian who has a photo with me where I signed his shoe. I have never talked to him before in my life other than that show where I did a meet and greet. I had no idea who he was until I found out later. He's been blocked and banned from all my shows since. I do meet and greets at every show because it's really important to me to connect with you guys, but this has really changed the way I will do them in the future. I've had several scary moments plus restraining orders, and it's just getting to the point where meet and greets give me anxiety." Obviously, Cray does not feel safe with people like Brian being in this world and going to their meet and greets or even their concerts. This next artist is Alice in Wonderland, who's the one we talked about before. This is the one that he called a bitch and he has a tattoo of. The one where he threatened to go to her apartment and probably cause harm. The one where he's also threatened to shoot up her concert. So he has a whole pinned story dedicated to her. Every single one of these posts is dedicated to her. And this is from 2021, so I'm sure she didn't know how this guy was, but she just responded, "Glad you're doing well," which is fine because there's nothing wrong with being supportive of your supporters, and for the most part that's okay. Just shit like this where it's just photo after photo of him wearing her merch or being obsessed, you know? And then there'd be stuff like this where she liked the photo of his and he would put it on his story, and for me, I'm kind of thinking that he possibly tagged her in it. As you can tell in this photo, he's wearing her merch, which, you know, maybe he tagged her on the shirt and then she liked it. But I have a feeling that he's taking this in the way that like, oh my god, we're actually friends, or like, I'm gonna date this person and we're gonna be in love or something. And then there's just more and more photos of him responding to her. This is actually the moment where she DM'd him back saying, "Glad you're doing well," in 2021. And not only did he get a screenshot of the notification, but he also was looking at a wallpaper of her for some reason on Google while this DM came in, which is kind of strange in my opinion. And then there's just more stuff, you know, promoting her album and stuff. And then we have random photos of him holding a vinyl, which is a little strange, but nothing wrong with that. And right here we have her liking one of his comments on her post, and then her responding, "Warehouse show is gonna be crazy." This was actually in 2019, so this was probably before she knew how this guy actually acted, and probably before he threatened to shoot up her concert. And then just more of her performances and stuff, every single thing. This is all just like his pin post, you know? Anything that he's just enjoying from her, he just posts it on the story and then makes it one giant story and pins it to the top of his Instagram feed. And right here we have a tattoo that he got on his arm that says "Calm Down." He also has that tattoo, which is fine, you know. I mean, sometimes it's kind of cute to get the same tattoo as your favorite artist or whatever and support them. And she also shared this on her story, which is fine because, you know, at the time it was just a regular supporter before he, you know, threatened to shoot up her concert. This was actually the weirdest one yet. He responded to her saying, "I hope you got my Christmas card. Thank you so much for being my friend." So as you can tell, he actually believes this person is his friend, which I'm gonna tell you, bro, she's not. Like, she probably appreciates your support. I don't know about anymore because, you know, you threatened to shoot up her concert and stuff. But saying that you're sending her a Christmas card, like, do you have her address or what? She liked this one and responded with a smiley face where he tagged her in a story of her. But she didn't respond about the Christmas card. And to be quite honest, it probably creeped her out. So I thought that was interesting. It really seems to add up that this guy kind of comes off like a stalker and has an obsession with some of these girls. And after deep diving on his Instagram, I saw that he was obsessed with this blonde chick from this sporting event. Let's see when she looks like she's not actually working at the sporting event. Right here, as you can see, there's a giant eagle and the, you know, sport hats. Right here, sporting outfit. 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 Yeah, comes off a little strange, I'm not gonna lie. I know not every single one of those girls was the same girl. He might just be obsessed with all of them, to be quite honest. And another thing I find interesting is that he's supporting the Black Lives Matter movement, which is great, and I agree, you should support that. But the only reason why this is funny or interesting to me is that he was just tweeting the N-word and saying that it's okay because he says it with an A and that he has homies that allow it and stuff. Now, I don't think this guy is a horrible person, but I do think him threatening to shoot up places and stuff is obviously undoubtedly horrifying. Hearing all these stalking stories, they actually go even deeper, but I don't want this video to be 2 hours long, but there's even more posts about it. But in my opinion, this guy's obviously pretty scary, to be quite honest with you. And if you're wondering what's currently happening with him now, when you delete your account and everyone thinks that you're wild and stuff and you're gonna get attention, they're gonna make fake accounts. And this tweet has 5,000 likes. And as you can see, it's saying the N-word and stuff, and it's just like a meme account at this point, but people are buying into it. And to be quite honest, it's not very far off from what I would expect from this guy to tweet, to be honest. It sounds pretty spot on. I truly believe if anyone knows this guy, they should get him help, because him saying the things that he has said and stalking these women is absolutely unacceptable. So I want to send my condolences to him and his family, and I also want to say maybe get this guy some therapy or something, because he is probably dangerous. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this type of video. I just felt like I really needed to speak about it. It just seemed really fascinating to me. And if you could hit the like button, that would mean a lot. It took a lot of work to find all this information and try to keep it in order as much as I could. And I will see you in the next video. Stay up and out crappy. Life's a bitch, don't quit, and peace out, thug pugs. Bye.
You've got your gun in my hand. This all was only wishful thinking. This all was only wishful thinking.